Sarah stepped out of the driveway at 3 a.m., wearing a large coat and carrying an extra purse. That's when I confronted her. My heart hammered against my ribs as I watched her freeze in the dim glow of the streetlight. The look on her face, surprise mixed with something I couldn't quite read, made my stomach twist into knots. I've been following the AirTag I'd hidden in her car for weeks, feeling guilty and justified in equal measure. Every single night at 9 p.m., she'd disappear without explanation. Every morning at 5 a.m., she'd wake me with breakfast, kissing my forehead like nothing had happened, like she hadn't vanished for 8 hours into some mysterious void. We'd only been living together a month, but the signs were everywhere, glaring at me like neon warnings I tried desperately to ignore. Packages from Shine arrived almost daily, filled with body-fitting costumes I'd never seen her wear. She had an entire closet, one she thought I hadn't discovered, dedicated to costumes and wigs in every color imaginable. Sequin dresses, leather outfits, feather boas, things that made no sense for her day job as a graphic designer. She always insisted on splitting bills 50-50, which seemed normal enough, except she'd also take me to fancy restaurants where a single meal cost more than my weekly grocery budget, then pay entirely on her own without blinking. The money had to come from somewhere. When I finally worked up the courage to ask if she had a secret trust fund, she'd laughed it off, changing the subject so smoothly I'd almost forgotten I'd asked. But I wasn't laughing anymore. The uncertainty was eating me alive, filling my head with scenarios that kept me awake at night. So there I was, parked outside some mansion in the wealthy part of town, music blasting through the windows and women screaming inside. Not scared screams, but the kind of wild, uninhibited shrieks that come with too much champagne and excitement. When Sarah walked out, adjusting her coat and glancing around nervously, I stepped from my car. "Fancy seeing you here," I said, my voice shakier than I'd intended. "Mind telling me whose house this is?" Her eyes went wide, genuine panic flashing across her features. She rushed forward, covering my mouth with her hand, whispering frantically about the noise, about discretion, about professionalism. Then she grabbed my arm and dragged me to follow her to what she called her job's office, a small converted pool house behind the mansion. Inside, my heart pounded so hard I could hear it in my ears. Was this some elaborate excuse? Some story she prepared for when she finally got caught? Then she took a deep breath, her shoulders sagging with what looked like relief, and explained everything. Sarah worked as an on-call entertainer for bachelor and bachelorette parties. Not what I'd feared, but not what I'd expected either. She performed, danced, made people laugh, helped create memorable nights. Since we started dating, she made every single contract strictly no touch, losing clients and significant income to keep our relationship sacred, to maintain boundaries she knew I'd want. "I love dressing up and making people feel confident," she said, her eyes sparkling with genuine passion despite her obvious nervousness. "It's like theater, you know? I get to be someone else for a few hours, help people celebrate the biggest moments of their lives. But if we ever get married, I'm quitting everything to start a family with you." That's always been my plan. The relief hit me like a wave, washing away weeks of anxiety and suspicion. She wasn't cheating. She wasn't living some double life of betrayal. She was just living a life I didn't understand, one she'd been afraid to share because of exactly this: judgment, misunderstanding, the fear of losing someone she loved. I pulled her close, breathing in the familiar scent of her perfume mixed with glitter and hairspray. I told her I loved her, that I loved she had something that made her happy, something uniquely hers. But I also warned her, my voice serious, never to use my trust as permission for betrayal, to always be honest with me no matter how difficult the truth might be. She kissed my cheek, leaving a lipstick mark I wouldn't wash off until morning. "You're a keeper. That's how I know you're the one." She even offered to let me come along to future events as security, as her official +1 in the secret world. And that night, sitting in that tiny office until dawn, she told me about every crazy event she'd worked from before we met until now. It was absolutely horrific and hilarious, and I loved every minute of it.